Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here, and welcome to a predictions video for this year's WWE Payback, which by the way is shaping up to be a pretty awesome event. On time of recording this video, there actually aren't that many matches on the card, but the ones that are on the card are pretty intriguing to say the least. Now, before we get into the juicy stuff, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, even better, subscribe if you're new. Don't miss out on all the uploads that we do pretty much daily on this channel these days. But let's cut to the chase, and let's start with the matchup that certainly got my attention in Judgment Day members Damian Priest and Finn Balor taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles. And why this is so intriguing is because there's so many different directions that this could go. Now, obviously got to make one prediction and stick to it, and I'm actually going for a title change. I actually think it's going to go the opposite to what you think. I actually think that Damian Priest and Finn Balor temporarily are going to put their differences aside and become the champions. So we're going to get this visual with the Judgment Day with all the gold, and maybe that slightly spoilt my Rhea Ripley prediction to come. We might as well do that next, right? And I think this is going to be really compelling storytelling down the line, because we know there's friction between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. We know there's an inevitable fallout. Throw JD McDonough into the scene as well. I actually think JD McDonough might actually help Finn and Damian, and maybe for a split second you think, hang on, is Damian Priest and JD McDonough coexisting here? The fact that the Judgment Day are literally on the Payback poster makes me think it's going to be a big night for Judgment Day, and I think they could even potentially add JD McDonough officially to the group as well, and you get the Judgment Day stronger than ever before. Next up, of course, that moves us swiftly on to Rhea Ripley versus Raquel for the Women's World Title, or Championship should I say. And I don't think this is going any other way than the Eradicator in Rhea Ripley keeping the belt. And personally, I don't think that Rhea Ripley should lose that belt until like WrestleMania. And I do believe we could potentially see some Liv Morgan interference. Maybe Liv costs, without meaning to, Raquel her championship shot now, and we get a feud between Liv and Raquel. Maybe a Raquel heel turn. Who knows? Endless possibilities along the way. But there's no way Rhea Ripley is dropping that belt. Not now anyway. Like, Rhea Ripley is literally like at the very top, in my opinion, of the women's division at the moment. And again, like I said, the visual with the Judgment Day having all the belts, Rhea Ripley has to retain for all the Judgment Day members to have belts. And I think that just would be such a cool visual on Raw. Next up, that moves us on to a matchup which I'm really looking forward to, in The Miz taking on the megastar in LA Knight. The promos back and forth between the two of them have done wonders in hyping up the two in their matchup against one another. But surely WWE are going to do the right thing, and LA Knight is going to beat The Miz. I would be shocked. I would be absolutely stunned if The Miz gets a victory here. And if he did, you got to think it's got to come from some form of outside interference, which I don't think is happening in a million years. It's going to be LA Knight. Turning our attention to the women's division, a matchup, a feud that, let's face it, has been dragging on for some time. And that's nothing against Trish and Becky. I actually think that Trish Stratus has been smashing it out the park in her heel role. But of course, we're going to get Trish versus Becky in a steel cage match to end this feud at Payback. And surely it's got to be Becky Lynch who gets the W here. It makes no sense on Trish winning this one, but you never know. Never say never. WWE like to shock us from time to time. They've teased this potential future feud between Tiffany Stratton, the current NXT Women's Champion, in Becky. There's been a lot of social media back and forth. Literally Tiffany bringing Becky Lynch's name into promos, and Becky Lynch responding, saying that she hasn't been NXT champion yet. Is this a feud we're going to see soon? I reckon so. It's certainly going to be a way of elevating new talent, and I like it. And of course, that moves us on to the penultimate match on the card, Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory for the United States title. And is anybody going hallelujah when it comes to the United States Championship? The fact that it's actually been defended on a PLE gives it a bit of spotlight. I'm assuming that's why they put off Gunther versus Chad Gable in their rematch for Raw next week instead of having it on the show, so they can give the spotlight to the US Championship, which kind of makes sense. I actually think here we're going to see a title change. I think Austin Theory's going to get it back. And do you know why I think he's going to get it back? Because of none other than LA Knight. Surely it makes sense for LA Knight and Austin Theory over on SmackDown to have a feud together for that United States title, for LA Knight to go over Austin Theory when the time is right. I think most of you will agree that Austin Theory's previous run with the United States Championship was a little bit underwhelming. So LA Knight and Austin Theory in a feud going back and forth on the mic would be absolute gold. Much like what they've done, of course, with Miz and LA Knight at the moment. But you need a heel to work off. So if LA Knight has got another heel to work off, that makes sense in Austin Theory, right? Now this matchup is really intriguing and could go numerous ways in terms of creative direction. I mean, does Rey Mysterio retain because Santos Escobar has helped him to then turn on him potentially at a later date? Because Rey filled Santos Escobar's shoes. He got the shot at that title to then take the title from Austin Theory in Santos Escobar's place because he was taken out. He was the winner of the tournament, Escobar. So is he really truly staying loyal to Rey? Does Austin Theory win because Escobar costs Rey? Maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally. We'll have to wait and see. Just don't forget Santos Escobar in all of this. I feel that definitely Rey Mysterio is going to be a transitional champ. I think that's pretty much obvious, the age he is and the stage he's in his career. He doesn't need the United States title. So it's certainly worth throwing Escobar into the mix. What do you think? Of course, that moves us on to the main course, the main event. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's a breath of fresh air to see Seth Rollins main event in a PLE. Actually not seeing the Bloodline on a PLE taking centre stage is really refreshing. That's nothing against the Bloodline. I've loved every second of their storyline arc, but it's nice to see the World Championship getting the main event center stage. Now, I was a bit down initially when I saw that Nakamura was going to be the heel opposing a face in Seth freaking Rollins, but WWE have proved me wrong. They've done a fantastic job of making Nakamura, even just for the short term, a credible opposition to Seth freaking Rollins. I haven't taken Nakamura this seriously since like 2018 when he won the Royal Rumble, but it pains me to say I still don't think that Nakamura is ever going to win main WWE gold in terms of a World Championship gold at this stage in his career. And it's going to be Seth freaking Rollins who's going to get the win. The big question coming up though, who is going to be the heel coming out of Payback that takes on Seth Rollins? Will they continue this feud? Will Damian Priest potentially get involved even in this match? We can't forget about that. Damian Priest has the Money in the Bank briefcase. Imagine if he cashed in on the night after winning the tag titles. Or he might not win the tag titles and go after Seth Rollins. Or even Nakamura. Whoever wins. So of course we've got to throw that into the mix as well. It's going to be intriguing. But with Judgment Day being the centre sort of poster piece of this show, you've got to think it's going to be them standing tall at the end of the show. But I'm going with Seth freaking Rollins for the win in this matchup. On a little side note as well, of course, we've got Cody Rhodes making an appearance on the Grayson Waller effect. So that'd be really intriguing to see what happens there. Looking forward to that. But overall, a really, really intriguing PLE. So what do you think? Head down in the comments section, give me your full show predictions along the way. And as always, it's very much appreciated, especially if you watch these videos all the way through. Honestly, much love if you do. It'd be really much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. We'll catch you in the next one.